If you're nervous about getting started in your soap making business, just do it. Hi everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me again today. Today's going to be a little bit busy, but not too busy. I've got that hydrating lip balm that I mentioned in my newsletter that I need to make. I also made 2 loaves of Eucalyptus Mint soap that I need to cut. I also want to try out these new labels that I made for my shower steamer, so I'll probably print those out and see what they look like. And candles. I almost forgot candles. I have ordered about 10 candles that I need to make, so that's also on today's agenda. But without any further ado, let's get started. All right, so this lip balm is super easy to make, and if you're a member of my Patreon, I will also have that recipe posted in my Patreon as well. And it's as simple as measuring all of our ingredients, melting them down, adding our flavor and vitamin E oil, and then pouring them into the container. So let's do it. And the first ingredient I'm going to measure out is stearic acid. And stearic acid is good because it helps the skin feel smooth. And for liquid oils, it can help them feel more buttery. So when you're applying them to the lip, they have a real nice smooth finish on them. Friendly note, stearic acid can be a pain to melt, and that's why I like to add it first, because all the oils and butters push that stearic acid towards the bottom closest to the heat. And now I'm going to add my coconut oil. Coconut is commonly used in lip balms because of its moisturizing, emollient, and healing properties. It forms a protective barrier around the skin, so that's a really good quality to have in your lip balms. And the next ingredient I'm going to add is cocoa butter. And cocoa butter is an excellent addition for lip balms. It is moisturizing, soft, and really helps with chapped lips. But one of the things about cocoa butter is it's a solid at room temperature, and it helps your lip balm or your chapstick maintain its integrity and stay hard. But in high temperatures, it will melt. The next ingredient I'm going to be using is sweet almond oil. And sweet almond oil, like many carrier oils, is very moisturizing to the skin. So this is a great addition as well. But you can use avocado oil, hemp seed oil, jojoba oil, which actually I'm using jojoba oil as well. Any of those lightweight oils. There's a lot of oils that you could use in this. And as I mentioned before, you can also add jojoba oil, which I am going to use now. I absolutely love jojoba oil because it is close to our skin's sebum. So when you put lip balm or chapstick on, it feels more natural. And the last ingredient I'm going to add before I begin the melting process is candelilla wax. And you can use candelilla wax or beeswax, but I found that candelilla wax for me works better because it's a lot harder than beeswax. So I prefer this ingredient instead. What I'm going to do next is put these in a warm water bath and begin the melting process. And while those ingredients are melting down, I'm going to measure and combine what I consider to be my cool down ingredients, and that's going to be my vitamin E flavor oil, and this is also where I'm going to add my colorant. My waxes and butters are melted down. I'm going to separate my batch in half because I'm using 2 different flavor oils. And it's starting to harden up rather quickly, so I think I need to move a little bit faster. I think it cooled down way too fast, so I'm going to put this back in my warm water bath just for a little bit longer. What I'm going to do next is let my lip balms cool. And if you're new to making lip balms, I probably would not suggest to master batch 2 different flavor oils at once. I'd probably make sure to do this after you're really used to the lip balm making process. But I will bring you all back to see these lip balms once they have cooled and solidified. So my lip balms have cooled and they have solidified and they smell so good. I've got watermelon and cotton candy. And I don't know what I did when I was pouring this one, but maybe I over poured the rest of them, but my 10th one did not fill to the top. So of course, this is gonna be my personal sample. I really don't feel like making the label for these today. I'm just gonna go ahead and move on to my next task, which is making these candles. Alright, I'm supposed to be making 5 coffee fragrance candles and 5 blue spruce fragrance candles. I know I have the coffee fragrance oil, but I need to double check to see if I have blue spruce fragrance oil. One of the first things I started off with was making candles and wax melts. I was afraid of making soap because the whole saponification process kind of scared me. I think just doing it under my roof. Funny enough, I actually studied chemistry at UNC, so you would think that mixing chemicals and getting a chemical reaction was something that I would be used to or normal for me. But I think just the idea of doing it at home and then making something that was safe for people, I just didn't have confidence in myself in the beginning. But after I made my first loaf of soap, all the jitters and scariness, nervousness just went out the window, and I felt so comfortable after the fact. So if you're nervous about getting started in your soap making business, just do it. Don't be scared, just do it. We've all had our first batch. Everyone has their first batch. I usually use this wick placement centering device for my 9-ounce jars. I thought that I could use them on these jars as well, but I've noticed that the little grooves at the top, they don't fit perfectly in there. I've just kind of been eyeballing, putting my wick in there, and then I've just been using this to apply pressure and make sure that wick is securely stuck to the bottom of my jar. All right, so I've got the wicks in all these candles. I'm gonna go ahead and check on my wax. Throughout my candle making journey, I've learned something. I never put away my wick or my wick stickers until I've successfully poured and centered my wicks, because I have failed with placing my wicks correctly. And then I pour the candle wax in there and I realized that the wick is floating because it didn't stick to the bottom, and then I have to run and go get these supplies all over again. So that's my note to you guys. Keep your wicks and your wick stickers handy until you know you have successfully poured all of your candles. Let's weigh this fragrance oil. My wax is melted down. It reached 185 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to add my UV inhibitor. And what the UV inhibitor does is it prevents UV rays from making your candles fade. And it's really good if you make colored candles. 2 drops of brown. No, 3 drops of brown, because I'm doing 5 candles. And then I usually do 1 drop of black just to make the brown dark. Adding more brown doesn't make it dark. It just makes it brown. Now let's add our fragrance oil. I've got my timer set here. I'm going to stir for 2 minutes. I always wonder, like, why do you stir for 2 minutes? And what I found out is that it asks you to melt your wax until it's 185 degrees Fahrenheit, and then it'll tell you to pour between 165 and 170. And what I've realized is it usually takes about 2 minutes for the wax to cool down from 185 to 170, 165. So other than making sure that the wax molecules are completely separated and then they can bind to that fragrance oil, I think that's just the average amount of time that it takes for that wax to be at its optimal pouring temperature as well, if that makes sense. Okay, 2 minutes is up. And usually when I'm making a big batch of candles, I put my candles inside the box that they came in, because cardboard really helps insulate them and it keeps the heat inside, and they cure more evenly. But since I'm only doing 5 candles and I don't feel like going back to get my box, I'm just going to place them here on this towel. And while my candles are curing, cooling, solidifying, whatever term you like to use, I just like to leave them in peace and tranquility. And I'll bring you guys back probably tomorrow. Hey everyone, welcome back. It's the next day and I am checking on my Café Latte candles, and they look absolutely gorgeous. That glass adhesion, I don't know if you can see that, is perfect. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my wick centering devices off. I'm going to trim down my wick and I'm going to check for any sinkholes. And I'm really not concerned with having sinkholes because it's an easy fix, and I'm going to show you how I fix my sinkholes. So first I trim my wick to about 1/4 inch. And on some of these candles, you can definitely see the sinkhole, but sometimes the sinkholes are below this smooth solid part. So you can choose to get a skewer. And I learned this from black tie candles. You can kind of poke around in there to make sure that there aren't any more sinkholes. It's not absolutely necessary, but depending on the type of wax that you use, sometimes you will find sinkholes that have fallen in there. Now, this one did not present any sinkholes underneath the smooth part, so I'm honestly thinking the rest of my candles are safe. So I'll just be opening up the obvious edges and fixing those sinkholes. And all we do is, after we poke those holes, we grab our heat gun, we put it on a low setting, and we hold it about 3 to 6 inches from our candle because we don't want to burn out all that fragrance oil. And then we just smooth out the tops. So when you're fixing your sinkholes, I recommend that you welt your wax enough to have an even melting pool around the entire candle so that when they solidify, they're nice and even. All right, so let's go ahead and fix the rest of these candles. In the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and get those labels ready for my watermelon and candy cane lip balms that I made yesterday. Do you think you can place that perfectly? Oh, this is 1 inch, so we don't have any wiggle room. Yeah. Show the people. Did you feel it? Wiggle room. Yeah. That was a success, but she has little fingers, and if my daughter really loves me, she'll put the labels on the containers for me. And here they are, watermelon and cotton candy. And I think they're absolutely adorable. They are so cute. This might be good for my little customers. Next thing I'm going to label are these Café Latte candles that I made. So let's move to that project next. And before I close out today's video, I am going to cut that mint eucalyptus soap that I made a few days ago. And here are my 2 loaves of soap. I am so nervous and curious on how these are going to turn out. Okay everyone, so that's gonna wrap up this studio vlog. I got a lot done. I got these super cute lip balms that I made, cotton candy and watermelon. I also got these Café Latte Candles made. And then I also got my Eucalyptus Mint soap cut. So I was pretty busy. So I just wanted to thank you all again for joining me, and thank you to my Patreons. You are so supportive and you keep me motivated to do these things. Please give me a huge thumbs up if you like this content. Please subscribe and hit that notification button so you can be notified anytime I post new content. Until next time, bye guys. Yeah, that's a lot.